live on YouTube.
1 sec. Mayor, you are live.
Thank you very much. Let's begin this. Well, they say it's a regular meeting, but I think it's a special meeting. And we are July 5th at 6:04, and I'm going to gavel us into session. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Rivera, salute to the New Mexico flag led by Councilor Cassett, and an invocation from Councilor Romero Worth. If you'd please rise.
Tonight, as in many times when I do these invocations, I just ask that we reflect and on the roles that we play in this community, the importance of these jobs, and what an honor it is to hold them and be able to do things that could benefit many people who need our help and the things that help move our community forward. So just a moment of reflection on the roles we play.
Thanks, everybody. Are there any remembrances before we begin the meeting? Let's take one more minute and just think about people who are not doing well in our community and need our help and need our support. People who are struggling to get well, get healthy. Our thoughts go to them. Thanks, everybody. Madam Clerk, we have a diminished crew tonight. Can you call the roll?
We do. Mayor Weber,
Present.
Councilor Cassett. Here. I'll note that Councilor Chavez is excused. Councilor Lee Garcia.
Here.
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Present.
Councilor Lindell will not be joining us. Councilor Rivera.
Here.
Councilor Melworth.
Here.
And Councilwoman Villarreal is also not.
Also excused.
Yep.
Very good. So we have a quorum.
We do.
Are there agenda changes you want to call to our attention, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, we do need to remove an item from the agenda. It will be going on the July 12th agenda, and that is item C, request for approval of amendment number 5 to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Santa Fe and Local 3999, City of Santa Fe employees of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Council 18, AFL-CIO, for all bargaining unit employees to receive a 3% pay increase who earn less than $100,000 annually, and 1% for bargaining unit employees who earn $100,000 or more annually the first full pay period in July of 2023.
That will be carried over.
Yes.
Any other changes?
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes. Sorry about that, Mayor. Councilor Cassett,
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Rivera,
Yes.
Councilor Melworth,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion has been approved.
thank you. In that case, you could take us to the first action item on the agenda for us to consider tonight.
Yes, Mayor. The first item this evening is request for approval of a contract with Advanced Communications and Electronics, Inc. to provide for technicians to install subscriber programming, firmware updates, and tuning for current public safety radios used by the City of Santa Fe Police and City of Santa Fe Fire Department for use on the new State of New Mexico trunked radio system in the amount of $119,978.58.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve and there's a second. Mr. Bay, do you want to, for people who are watching, listening, and for the governing body, give us a quick overview about this item?
Yes, so we the last 2 years have been trying to get our first responders, fire and PD onto the state radio system. It is a better radio system, it has better coverage. It takes care of the majority of dead spots that are in the city of Santa Fe, as well as it gives us redundancy. If a lightning strikes a tower, we'll have a whole bunch more that'll be backup. It's a better, safer system for our community and for our first responders. And we have been fast-tracked lately. In the last month or so, this project's been fast-tracked to getting done before Zozobra. And so with that, we are asking for some assistance from vendors that are experts in tuning our radios and helping our current radio staff getting that project done with getting them tuned and switched over to the state when Motorola switches over a couple of weeks before Zozobra.
Questions for Mr. Abeyta about this item? If not, we have a second and a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on the first item on the agenda?
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Marworth,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion has been approved.
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support too.
Thank you for being here, sir. Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is item B, request for approval of New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division Grant number SAF 24-01 in the amount of $3 million for terminal expansion and infrastructure improvements.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Mr. James Harris is here to speak with us.
Good evening, Mayor and counselors.
Still getting used to it, right?
Yeah, I'm almost used to it. We were offered a grant for $3 million from the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division in the amount of $3 million to cover a pretty massive change order for the terminal improvement project. As you all know, when we started digging up the parking lot, we started finding things that needed to be repaired. And part of the $3 million is to allow us to continue repairing the things in the parking lot to be fixed.
Questions? Yes. Counselor Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that, Mr. Harris. And so in the information, it says $3 million covers about 90% of what we need for, can you go into that? Really 10%, where's that coming from?
Thank you, Counselor Garcia. So right now we're looking at the $3 million. We're also looking at an additional $1.1 million to complete the terminal project. Again, it all stems from digging and finding. So once we started getting into the latter part of the project, we started realizing that we need more cameras. There's a lot of door systems that we need to upgrade, exits, safety items in the terminal that need to be upgraded to bring it up to code and standards set out by TSA and the FAA. So all in all, we have gates, some fencing issues around the terminal that needs to be repaired. So that, we'll call it $4.1 million in change orders. That's what all that's going towards. The low voltage, the IT stuff, new server racks. So that's what this big change order is for.
Thank you. And I think, so again, I mentioned $3 million, you said covers about 90%.
That's correct.
And just for information purposes, that would leave 10%. And where's that money going to come from to complete the project?
We're working to finalize the actual final numbers. The 3 million was what I requested from the state because that's the numbers we had at the time. And while we're working, we had to get back with a few companies to get updated prices on certain equipment that we'll need to run the software for the doors, the cameras. So we're finalizing those and then we'll have an actual number of what extra we'll need. And then I can request an amendment from the state, or I can come to the governing body and request additional funds for the project.
Thanks. And timeline, what are we looking at for completion of all of this?
For completion of the terminal project, or
Oh, yeah, well, the parking lot, number one, and then terminal project. The parking lot is actually, we get a lot of questions about that.
yes, Counselor. So we actually have two finish dates. The terminal project, the actual terminal area is coming along pretty good. So we're on track for early September completion for that. The parking lot, every week we delay adds an additional month to it. So we're looking at the middle of January to complete the actual parking lot area.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Other questions? Well, all right, there are no questions. We're good to go. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on this item then?
Yes, Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell.
Not
Oh, sorry.
But I think if she were here, she'd vote yes, but she's not here.
Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Marworth,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett. Yes. Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion has been approved.
thank you. And then that takes us to the one remaining item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Yes, this is item D, request for approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Santa Fe and the Santa Fe Police Officers Association for fiscal year 24 to include salary increases in the amount of $432,267 for sworn and civilian bargaining unit employees.
Move to approve.
Second.
Oh, there's a motion, there's a second. Chief Valdez, what can you tell us about this item?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So there is one correction on the memo that I just want to address. It is correct in the contract. When we're looking at the pay rates for our sworn classifications, those are the current pay rates. So the new proposed rates that we came to an agreement with alongside the Police Officer Association, they're on page 19 of the contract. So for the 3% base rate increase for Police Officer 1, it is 26.601. For Police Officer 2, it is 30.408. Senior Police Officer and Detective are both 37.039. And our Police Sergeant is 41.818. With these amounts, this allows.
If I can, just really quickly, in case people are trying to match up, so it's page 22 in our packets on PrimeGov. And you had mentioned page 19 of the contract, so just wanted to be clear, sorry.
With these pay increases, this allows us to maintain our competitive edge with other agencies in the surrounding area that we often compete with. I saw that the neighboring sheriff's office up the street, they were putting out that they were the highest paid in the state. That is not correct. With these rates, we still outpace them in some of our areas. And what really distinguishes us in pay is our shift differential. So if you look at the pay classification for, let's say, a senior police officer, approximately $37 an hour. If they work graveyard, that's 10% of that per hour, which is an additional $3.70 an hour that they receive. We also have other competitive edges that we have in our contract that have been very helpful for us. And again, we're still seeing a lot of interest in our department. One thing that we do face is the challenge with retirements. A lot of our great officers, they finish their time of service with our city and they move on to different ventures. So we have that constant turnover of staff and the new hiring staff. But we're making a lot of great strides with the support we got from the city council. We made a couple of changes to make sure there's equity with our folks that have been with the department as certified officers when it comes into areas of people that may have served as a public safety aide or animal services officer. So that was really good. And then with some of the items that we saw for our drug testing. We made sure that we added some additional staff that were considered safety essential personnel, where other folks depend on them for their safety. So we saw a lot of equity in those areas. And then we just did a little bit of cleanup on the holidays to include Juneteenth in our recognized holidays in our POA contract. And we just aligned the names of the holidays with what is currently approved with the city's holiday calendar. So that way it's a 1-for-1 and they match straight across.
Thank you. And this is all made its way through the Police Officers Association.
Yes, Mayor, it went before the POA. They did ratify the contract. We had a couple days because we're trying to get this before City Council on the 12th. So they sped up the process. There was a majority, so there were 56 folks that were able to vote in person. Of the 56, 54 voted in favor and 2 did oppose. And they have 126 members. But just consider this was in person. They put out the announcement, I believe, on a Monday or Tuesday, and voting went from Tuesday through Friday. So it was kind of a short window that they had. So they got as many folks as they could with their shifts and their days off, and they were able to get a majority vote for the approval of this contract.
Thank you. Questions? Councilor Rivera.
Thank you, Chief. So even though the memo was incorrect, is the budget increase of 432,267 correct? Or
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Rivera, yes, that calculation is correct. And that takes into account for those base rate increases for all the classifications that have been budgeted by the city for this upcoming year.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on this item, please?
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Marworth,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett. Yes. Counselor Lee Garcia
Yes.
and Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion has been approved.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I do have slides from yesterday's pancake breakfast that I'll be showing if you want to stick around. But for the rest of us, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for making this happen on short notice. Much appreciated.